Hi, I'm Barry Cassidy with the Downtown Report. Today we're going to look at the new sidewalks that are being installed, as well as some of the iron grates that will adorn the Ironworks District. And finally, we'll talk a little bit about the proposed tax increment finance, aka TIF plan for the downtown. Now let's take a look at the sidewalks. One of the things that you have to look for when you're doing public improvements on the street is to make sure that you deal for all eventualities in the project. In front of the Columbia here, we're rolling some base to put the bricks on. What will happen is the bricks go on top of a sand base, but this is a stabilizing base before you put the sand on. What they do is they put a geotech fiber, which is what goes underneath here, and then they put a level of stone in. Then a level of sand goes in. Now this is normally done right around the same time they do the sewer inlet construction, as well as any kind of Bilco doors that need to be replaced. Up on the top part of the street, we have a Bilco door that was vaulted a little bit, where there was a space into the sidewalk beyond the level of the Bilco door. And what we have to do is we have to rebuild that framework so we can set that Bilco door back on so it doesn't become a trip hazard. There's a ton of things that happen here in the downtown when you're trying to do a streetscape project. There's trench grates that need to be put in. You have to make sure that the drainage goes correctly. Every building is different. Every building has a different set of circumstances. In some cases, there are water lines running underneath. In some cases, there's electric lines. You have to be very careful. You do a one call. The people for the utilities come in, they mark all the utilities down, and then you excavate around them, sometimes by hand. And then this would be the next to the final step, where you're putting the sub base down right before you put the sand down, and then the bricklayers will come in and lay the bricks. This is the geotech fiber that goes down and it wraps the all of the conduit. What we're doing is we're running 4 strings of conduit through here, 2 of which we're going to use for future growth. And then this geotech covers the conduit and we fill in on top of it. Then once we fill in, then another section of geotech goes on, and that stabilizes the ground, and then we fill on top of it with the sub base, and then the sand goes on, and then the bricks. So this geotech plays an important role in both stabilizing the soil and protecting the electrical conduit that we're putting in. We attempted to identify the downtown as a separate area. One of the things that we wanted to draw on was the rich iron and steel history. We renamed the downtown the Ironworks District. The Ironworks District has no real boundaries, but one of the things that we did was we delineated some of the amenities in the downtown as iron. One of the things we did was we put iron handicap grates for the handicap entrance to the sidewalk. We didn't have to do that. You could do stone, but we felt it was a good fit to put the iron grates in here. And you can see everything's made in USA. In addition, we're going to be putting cast iron light posts in. The light posts in front of the foundry now are cast aluminum. We decided to go with a higher grade street light and put in cast iron street lights to build on the rich heritage of the iron and steel industry. Another thing that we have here is the tree grates are all iron, and we were able to put the borough logo on them. It was a little bit extra in terms of the casting, but we were able to get that done. In addition, we put the name of the borough on the benches. One of the problems with the benches was the fact that we really couldn't find too many cast iron benches. But we found some that had a cast iron end, and we put steel ribs in between them. So we're going to have quite attractive benches. I'm particularly proud of the tree grates and how the tree grates will be integrated into the streetscape, and the fact that they're cast iron and they'll be weathered on a just a regular basis. There won't be any special treatment. They won't be painted or anything like that. What we hope to do is capitalize on the original iron look, and hopefully move to identify the Ironworks District through the use of iron throughout the district. The final step is putting down the bricks next to the cutouts for the trees and for the lights. And what they do is they put the bricks down in a pattern. We went with two separate patterns to give it a little bit more pizzazz, I guess, but we went with two separate patterns on the urging of the landscape architect. It gets kind of tricky when you're putting a round bump out in for restaurants, but it's working. And then you put sand on top of it, and the sand works its way in between the bricks, and this solidifies the process. What you're going to have to do, though, is prior to each spring, there has to be a pre-emergent sprayed on this so you don't get a lot of weeds growing up out of it or anything like that. But other than that, it should be good to go. I'm pretty impressed with the design, and we've been happy with the way it turned out. If you look on up the street, you'll see that there used to be a step there. What we did is we changed the grade of this entire sidewalk in order to make this a little bit more continuous, and we added that driveway in there to be like a miniature street, and we've eliminated the steps. This way it makes it handicap accessible. That's why the handicap grates are there, so someone with a wheelchair can come to Phoenixville, enjoy the downtown arts and entertainment district, and not be handicapped in terms of where they could go and how they could get there. We try to make this as handicap as accessible as possible. To hold the bricks in on the side, what we've put in is this plastic runner that is nailed into the ground, into the subbase, and what this does is it gives us a straight line where buildings can be built up next to it. In this case, there will not be, because of the change in the elevation that we went to eliminate the steps. You can see what we're higher over here by the superintendent's building, and this will be filled all the way back in to lessen the step over there. But all of this will be filled in, and the ground will be much higher, and to serve as a base for entering that building, so you're not going down a big hill or something like that. So in eliminating the step, what we did is we also raised the sidewalks on different areas, and it had an impact on some of the buildings. And what we're doing is we're working with the landscape architects and the engineers and stuff to make sure that the water goes the right way, and we have adequate storm basins and those kinds of things. I'm sitting here at the superintendent's building, which will be one of the buildings that we propose to be put in the tax increment finance plan. The tax increment finance plan operates best when there's vacant land, but in the case of the superintendent's building, here's a building that had been dilapidated for over 20 years. The increase in valuation for this building, just based on the $2 billion that we're going to put in here, will offer us the opportunity to do a tax increment finance plan. One of the things we would like to do with the tax increment finance revenue is build some parking garages. Also, would like to do some public art, sculpture, murals, and things of that nature, as well as do an advertising campaign to invite people to come down to Phoenixville and enjoy the arts and entertainment district. This is one of the buildings that we're going to put into the TIF project. What makes this building attractive is the fact that it started out as a vacant lot. Many of you may remember it as the lot that had all the garbage in it all the time. Now there's a building, in fact a couple buildings that have been built here, and these buildings will house businesses that will be part of the downtown. The building is an improvement on the vacant lot, and all of the taxes gleaned from that building would go to pay off a bond on the TIF. Now we're going to step inside and we're going to take a look at Panini's restaurant as it starts out and talk to Mark Geller about the layout on the inside. We're here with Mark Geller, the owner of Panini's restaurant that will be located in this space. And I'm going to turn the mic over to Mark and tell us a little bit about Panini's restaurant.
Thanks, Barry. Panini's is going to be a 64-seat Italian bistro, a little BYOB. When you first come in the front door, we're going to have a carry-out section on the left. It will feature gourmet, fresh prepared Italian products. Then we'll have our dining room, which will take up the rest of this space with booths and tables and waitress service. We will be a nice family-friendly atmosphere, so we hope you check us out.
Mark, when will you be opening again?
It should be about 3 weeks from now. It's either going to be the first or second week in November.
Well, I'm sure that you'll all be looking forward to coming out to see Mark and eating the fabulous food here at Panini's. Now we're going to go down to the Iron Hill project, which will be another portion of the tax increment finance package. This is the Iron Hill project. Right now we're in the status where we're pouring some of the forms for the foundation. They put the footers in, and the offices for Iron Hill will be located on the bottom there where they're in the basement. And then what we're going to do is we're going to build up on this. Again, this is another prime example of how tax increment financing can work, because you started out again with a vacant lot and you build the building on it. So the only thing that was a tax before the building was put up was the ground. So all of the building costs goes to finance the bond. This is a very, very important concept in tax increment financing. This is how you're able to glean money, offset a bond, and build a parking garage. This is Barry Cassidy with the Downtown Report. I'd like to invite everybody to come down and visit the downtown and see these changes for yourself. And we'll see you again next edition of the Downtown Report.